Hi, welcome back to Hometime. We're helping out our old buddy Nick Smaby on a pretty aggressive remodel he's been working on.
It's basically a mid-century modern style house, and the last time we focused on the exterior.
The big jobs were sealing up the flat roof, which is a big design element in houses of this style, finishing up the window insulation and getting a good start on the stucco siding treatment.
We also introduced the homeowners, Nick and Michelle Smaby, a couple of soon-to-be empty nesters interested in getting more out of less space.
One interesting thing about smaller spaces is I think it forces you to prioritize and do more thinking.
You don't have a lot of level changes in a house like this, and so inherently it's nice for a couple that wants to have a bedroom, master bedroom on the first floor.
Concurrently, I think we have the opportunity to create, essentially a maintenance-free house.
On this program, things will start happening inside with a flurry of new insulation, a high-efficiency wood-burning fireplace. It's got a lot of neat features, wood flooring that'll help define the character of the house, and some heavy-duty plumbing downstairs to set up a new cast iron soaking tub.
And there's some things going on the outside too. We're going to be pouring some concrete that ought to dovetail beautifully with this mid-century modern style. Stick around, see how it all turns out.
Hometime is brought to you by Chevy Trucks. Ready to help with your next home project. Does your home remodeling project have you choosing between an equity line of credit and refinancing? eLoan's website provides tools, calculators, and a loan advisor to help you online or over the phone. eLoan, a better way to get a loan. And by Johns Manville, manufacturers of a complete line of formaldehyde-free fiberglass insulation. Johns Manville. Our focus is insulation.
Well, today we're going to be blowing these walls in this house, all the exterior walls, with a spray and fiberglass insulation system.
The moment the insulation goes in, again, that's one of those things that happens very quickly, and it results in kind of a dramatic change in how the space feels. And it's also a great sign of progress.
Well, we're looking at a process here that looks somewhat like blowing snow, but actually this is a slick new way of insulating walls.
It's a virgin wool fiberglass, very short strand fiberglass, so it fills really nice into the sidewall cavities.
So this is the fiberglass insulation we're talking about right here. It comes in these bags, it's thrown into the top of the hopper, that fluffs it up a little bit, and then sends it through this hose out to the house.
We have a wireless remote for the machinery operation. We turn the glue on, hit the remote, and we're up and going.
This tank back here contains an acrylic additive. It goes through this hose and is sprayed out into the insulation just before it hits the wall to make it nice and sticky.
There is no water. It is strictly just a glue. There is no water with this system. This is totally mold resistant. There is nothing to support the growth of mold with this system.
Tim, why don't you kind of describe, how do you fill up the cavity with this stuff?
Basically, you start at the bottom of the cavity, try and be 90 degrees to the cavity if possible, and then we just start building it up and working up as we're going. And then we get a little bit of a layer towards the top, especially like 9-foot walls like there are in here. We go up to the top and start filling down to meet the top and the bottom. And then we come back with a stud scrubber and shave them off.
So you're just kind of shaving it off the front as you go up the stud wall.
Right.
And you just use that stud as kind of your guide all the way up the wall.
Yes. The stud scrubber works best as we roll the material up. If we start at the top and roll it down, it'll tend to pull the material out at times. So we want to start at the bottom and roll it up.
And that excess comes off, that's vacuumed up, taken back to the truck. They reuse it again, put it on the wall somewhere else in the house.
There is just one hopper. We throw dry material in it, and the reclaim from the house also gets dumped in the same hopper.
Now, the slick thing about a system like this is areas like this behind receptacles and around wires, it's not as easy to get vats in here, whereas a system like this just totally packs that full of insulation. I think one thing people don't realize is if you don't do a good job with fiberglass vats, you can actually get like air currents moving around in that stud space, right?
That's right. One of the benefits of this product is there are no air infiltration. It's all sealed up with the fiberglass.
Once this is done, you'll still put a vapor barrier on it though, right?
Yes, we will.
And once this is up on the wall, is it about the same R value as fiberglass bath?
Well, it's higher than a fiberglass bath. This is going to be an R23. The way we gauge the R value is your distance of the nozzle from the wall. 12 to 16 inches is R23. Once you get back 1.5 to 3 foot is in the R20-21 range. And then 3 to 4 feet is R19. So it's really the density of the material.
It's really a slick system. It goes really pretty darn quickly.
You know, you got one guy that can tend the hopper and vacuum, the other guy scrubbing, and the other guy blowing. So it's a real fast process.
So how long do you think it'll take you to do the entire house here?
We should be able to do this house within about 2.5 to 3 hours.
So just in time for lunch is what you're thinking?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, that works out for pretty good timing.
You know, it's well worth the upgrade. It's just a few $100s normally per house. Insulation is one of the few items that will actually pay for itself in the end. And you can only do it once.
The installation is finishing up, and now we're going to just get our fireplace done.
Usually a lot of the high-end kind of finish items come in at the end of the job, but today we're putting in a fireplace and it's gonna look gorgeous. First thing they're doing is cutting all the holes for the fireplace. They're starting with the one on the top.
This is the worst part. Most of the work's up front before the actual flue goes in. We cut a hole in the top of the chase top to kind of see what's going on. Then we start lining up where the flue's going to go. We start pre-cutting all the joists and getting a clear shot for the chimney. Once we got the holes lined up, we can get the unit in place and start building the chimney system. Fireplace weighs about 350 pounds. We've got a special cart that's going to make it a lot easier to get in the house, but it still works no matter how you slice it. We've got a stair climbing cart that's got adjustable forks on it with a little winch on it, so we can get the units on and off the truck and up and down stairs with minimal damage to the homeowner's house and to ourselves.
Well, they managed to get it into the house, and now they're going to put the legs on it and slide it into place.
This unit has telescoping legs, and the homeowner wants it raised up about 6 inches to get our raised hearth on the unit. The zero clearance wood fireplace is a great tool for the building industry, that you can come in and set a unit in one day versus masonry where you need footings. This unit does not need any footings because it doesn't weigh that much, and it is designed in such that you can put it on a wood floor. You just got to center it up, and then we'll take some measurements and get her in there in its final spot. We set the unit in place, and the builder wanted it up a little bit higher. It wasn't at quite the right spot for us. So we pulled the unit up a little bit, re-drilled the holes, readjusted the legs a little bit higher up. We secured the unit by screwing the legs into the floor, and then when we're finally done, we'll use some steel strapping and strap it at various points so we don't get any shake inside the unit. The chimney system stands on top of the unit, and that helps hold everything in place. We've got the weight of the chimney directly on top of the unit.
Well, the unit's in, looks level, everything's flush, and next to put in the venting.
To build the chimney, we start at the bottom. We install the first piece. We like to use a couple screws in the inner piece. It's a stainless steel or flue. We'd like to use stainless steel screws. You set the unit and you start running up.
So why are there two?
This is the inner stainless steel flue, and this is the outer air-cooled portion of the flue.
Okay.
Which is going to cool off the chimney as it burns.
Standard, okay.
And you simply keep building it in each section of pipe, snapping the inner first, then the outer fall after that. There are a lot of attentions to details here. We've got to seal at every floor level because of the tighter construction. You got to seal and make sure you don't disrupt your vapor barriers. And also at the roof, we've got a roof penetration here. We've got to make sure we seal everything and make sure everything's sealed down nice and tight. What we've got is a brick-lined unit. You throw your logs right in the inside here. You've got an ash grate. Our air control is inside the door here. We've got a gasket on the inside of the door here that's going to seal up our combustion. And we've got an ash pan down inside the bottom. With the use of the sealed door, we're slowing down the rate of combustion, and we're reburning the smoke, which allows us to get higher efficiencies from the stove and better control the flames.
What are these shiny things here?
These are stainless steel baffles that are going to get mounted up inside the stove, and they're going to deflect the heat up into a pattern that's going to make them reburn the smoke, give you beautiful dancing flames.
This looks like a duct.
That's a heat duct that's going to allow the heat out of the room and out of the interior chase and into the room. So we'll mount that up on the wall, and our heat will enter the room through that duct.
It's going to look good.
It's going to look great.
All right.
What we're going to do is throw a custom chase top on here, set it on top. We're going to seal down our collar in the center. We're also going to install a storm collar over the top of that to protect that inner seal. After that, we'll put a termination cap up there. We'll snap that in place and run a couple screws in it so the wind never takes it out. We'll have a leak-free chase for the future.
All right. Eventually, we will be putting in a surround on this fireplace, but kind of gives you an idea how a unit like this goes in. Looks really great.
lot of the customers are asking for minimal frame and large viewing of the glass and the fire, and this unit definitely comes through in both those aspects.
The lines and the look are very consistent with the architecture of the home, and really that's kind of what drove it.
With all the mechanical rough-ins pretty much done, the drywall crew's taken over the house, and Nick and I are talking about this open ceiling he's going to have in his screen porch. So now you have some pretty specific ideas for this, right?
Yes, we thought a lot about the material we'd use for the ceiling. The ceiling is, it's a pretty prominent piece in this porch, and we decided we wanted some sort of natural beauty to be a part of the ceiling. We considered green treated lumber, but didn't really want a green ceiling, and we didn't want to paint it. Redwood is another option, but it's becoming less so. It's very hard to come by in this part of the country, and it's very expensive. So cedar seemed like the perfect material. The rafters will be cedar.
What size are they going to be?
They are 2x8s. On top of them, we will place tongue and groove cedar boards, and as you stand and look up, all of that will be exposed. We are impressed with the natural beauty of the product. It certainly is weather resistant. We're not going to paint the ceiling. We're going to leave it natural. We may put a clear coat on it or something, but essentially the natural beauty will shine through.
Well, it's going to look great. I'm really excited. The screen porch is a little ways off, but something to really look forward to.
Well, as you can see, things have moved on. We have all the drywall done now. The guys are working on hardwood flooring. This is going on most of the first floor, the entry, the great room, the kitchen, back in the two bedrooms here, even part of the bathroom. Kurt Schaefer and the guys have done a couple of home time projects. They know what they're up to.
Yeah, we lay out a run and then we pound it in. So you lay out a portion of the flooring before you pound it in. This is a random product. It's anywhere from 1 foot to 8 foot lengths. You want your joints 3 to 6 inches at minimum apart. We put down the felt to mark the joists. We want to lay this product over the joists, perpendicular to all the joists, because our 2-inch staples go through the subfloor into the joist, and that's where we get our holding power.
The material Nick is going with is called a quarter and rift cut. Here's a couple examples of it. This is a quarter sawn piece right here. You can see how tight the rings are. This is a rift cut. This is where you're cutting perpendicular to the rings on the tree. The other version of that would be a plain sawn right here. You can see that the banding or the grain is much more open. I'm sure you recognize that. So this is definitely the look that Nick's going for.
Quarter sawn oak was the species of choice, I think, in the Prairie School architecture, and dating back to the turn of the century and earlier. And I just think it was interesting and fun to try to use it in this kind of updated modern home.
It's the most labor-intensive floor that we install, is the 1.5 inch. And you pay a little bit more for this than you do the plain sawn oak, but it's a cleaner look. With the climate we have here, there's a lot of fluctuation in humidity, so if you go with a narrower product, your cracks don't end up being as wide.
Now the guys are saying they'll have everything nailed down tonight. Then the next couple days they'll come back in, sand everything, put a couple coats on, and then when the entire house is finished, they'll come back in, sand it one more time, put down one final coat, and then it'll be a done deal.
So far, not a whole lot's been happening with landscaping here, but today there's going to be some footings poured and some concrete walls poured, a little bit of plumbing, and some other stuff going on. It should be fun.
Well, we have this wall here. It's about 60 feet long in total length, and then we have a 10-foot retaining wall in back.
What the intention with this wall is we're kind of playing off the idea of a white picket fence, but this is a 50s modern house.
Right.
So the idea is that this is a real low wall, 18 inches high.
Okay.
And it's just a bit of a separation from the public space to the private space. So it's kind of a contemporary play on that.
You have some more in the back, right?
Yep, we've got a big hole in the back. It's a bit of a mess, so watch your step. Back here, this corner will be filled up with a screen porch.
Okay.
End of the day. So today what we've got is we've got a footing poured down here already, and what we're going to pour is the concrete wall for some stairs that will go down here, and you'll be able to get into the backyard.
With the forms, they're basically taking big metal sheets, heavy ones, and connecting them together to form kind of a long metal trough.
You could just free float this right on the footing, and you don't really even have to lock it down into the footing. They go really quick. They go a lot quicker than if we were laying like masonry block.
I think the idea is really kind of a barrier between the street and the home. You know, obviously it's not a big wall, it's not a literal barrier, but it's kind of a psychological barrier.
Since this is a total remodel, that of course includes plumbing. Everything's been roughed in before they did the drywall. And today Don Harden and Mark Plash are going to come in and finish off a tub and put in some shower valves.
Actually, it takes about anywhere from 4 to 6 guys to move a tub of that size.
It's a big heavy tub, so we get a couple guys and slide that in there, but hopefully they'll be done in an hour or so with that.
This is an extra deep soaker tub. It's cast iron, super, super heavy. It's over 400 pounds. It's supposedly going to fit perfectly in there.
We're very tight, but according to our architect, it's designed perfectly for the tub.
Oh, they can get it in there, right. It's designed to a T, so it'll fit in there perfect, like a glove.
This is where it's going to be going, is this space right here. This is where they hammered out for the drain.
The drain from the tub goes right into the floor, so they actually have to cut out the concrete floor in the basement.
Including Brett, they got 4 guys to help lift that tub.
They're choice wood employees, and they're working right down the road, so they've come down here a couple of times to help us move that tub around.
There's just a little bit of confusion as to how to carry it in so that the drain and the tile flanges ended up in the correct spots. Once they figured that out, they stood it up on end and then walked it in.
When you're dealing with a tub that's approximately 400 pounds, you just worry about getting hurt, really.
Then it took just a little kind of finagling to angle it into that alcove. As they dropped it in, there was a lot of kind of communication, make sure everyone's fingers were clear.
Well, the framing allowed like virtually no extra room, so we had to tip it in and kind of persuade it to drop it down into place.
They're good in the front. There you go. Right. Then.
But the nice thing is it was down the basement already, and thank God it wasn't on a 3rd story.
Well, first of all, they got the drain on the correct side, which is over here, not over here. So I'm thinking, yeah, fill it with some water, take a little dip.
Oh, it's a beautiful tub. I mean, it's nice and deep. It's perfect for soaking.
The biggest problem with any kind of cast iron fixture is you could chip it, which can be repaired if you need to, but thank God we got this one in and no chips, no problems. Other than that, they're really durable. They hold their heat when you fill them. The plan is to get all these roughing valves in, get the water back on for them, and then they can come back in and patch sheetrock and Durarock and start tiling, and I think we'll be out of here for a while.
The concrete truck is arriving, and we need to move a couple things around, so we've done a little bit jimmying of some vehicles, get the trailer out of the way, and make way for the truck.
One thing that makes pouring this concrete a lot easier today is the equipment you can bring out to the site. Now, it's a real job getting everything here and orchestrating its delivery and whatnot, but once it's here, you start delivering that concrete, that's the way to handle it.
This is not your ordinary concrete truck. This baby's equipped with an extendable arm kind of thing, and on the arm, there's a conveyor belt, which makes it really easy to get the concrete from the truck to wherever you need it. He's kind of just working it through the trees right now. There are a couple power lines that are kind of presenting a problem, so he's very slowly and carefully getting that arm exactly where he needs it.
Like coming in here, all these trees, of course I had to extend the boom out before I could back in. Overhead power lines is always a big problem.
All right, they got the arm all in position. Now they're prepping the truck. They have a rubber thing kind of in one of the forms and back. He's getting the truck ready. He's going to start putting the concrete out. So the operator works with this handheld remote control, which can start and stop the concrete coming out, as well as moving the arm back and forth and putting it into different positions.
Tilts up, down, telescope from this point out, and basically run counterclockwise, clockwise, and get the swing back and forth. In regards to moving concrete from point A to point B, you've got about a 50-foot stretch if I completely telescope it out. I brought 6 yards with me. If we were just doing a constant pour, I could probably empty off in about 15 minutes.
The physicalness of pumping all that concrete back to that wall and then tipping it up, you know, to something above you, yeah, it saved a lot. And it's a lot cheaper than a typical pump truck, so that's the way to go.
We're done with the walls and back, and the driver is trying to manipulate into a different spot, and once we get back there, the rest of it will go a lot quicker.
Whenever you're pouring concrete, there's a lot of excitement because you don't have a second chance at concrete. Everything's got to happen just the way it's supposed to happen, especially with the wall out here in front. You want it to be nice and smooth and handled just perfectly.
So as you can see, you got the first guy running the hose. Next guy is kind of scooping, making sure everything's in and off the top. We have a vibration kind of happening to make sure there's no what they call honeycombing, make sure that everything settles down and there's no bubbles. And then last, you have the person going behind doing all the finishing work. You know, this particular truck doesn't necessarily have enough, but what's cool is that once this first truck runs out of material, the second truck's just going to come right in and start feeding that same conveyor belt from the second truck. So it's a pretty slick system.
I like it a lot for these little smaller jobs over like a conventional pump truck. The pump truck takes a lot longer to set up, and then when you're done pouring with the pump, you have a lot of extra in the hopper and a lot of cleanup. It costs more. What this truck does for smaller jobs like this, it puts it and you can stop it on a dime and it makes it go really good.
There was a lot of hairy situations with the power lines and whatnot. Just being careful not to hit anything, and as long as nobody got hurt and no damage occurred, I think that makes for a good job.
Overall, concrete is a big part of this landscape. It's going to be really interesting to see how it turns out.
It's always nice to have a masonry structure like a little wall like this out in front to help define the front yard, make it look a little bit aside from the actual house itself. This one is very simple and straightforward. It kind of fits in with that modern form.
Very clean lines. There's not a lot of ornate detail.
This is the second house I've dealt with this exposed concrete, and I'm starting to like it a lot more.
It offers the opportunity to do some very creative landscaping in front of it and create kind of an entry to the home. It's part of the entering process to the home.
To each their own. To me, it looks like an unfinished wall.
Well, a few days have passed now. The concrete's set up. Bart's guys have stripped off all the forms off the front of the wall. Now, design-wise, you can see this is a relatively straightforward, simple design. I think it matches the style of the house pretty closely.
The good thing about something like a poured concrete wall is that if in the end we don't like it, we can put anything we want on it. So it could be stucco, it could be copper, it could probably be wood if we chose. But for now, it's kind of a wait and see, and let's see how the landscaping coordinates with it. And I'm optimistic that in the end, it'll look pretty interesting.
So they've come a long way from what they started with. What Nick basically described as a double-wide trailer. It's going to be cool to see how it all comes together as Nick, Brett, and Jim pull all the elements together.
It should be a winner. Hopefully you'll tune in. For everybody on the crew here, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Visit Hometime at PBS Online. We've got more details about our projects, tips on owning and maintaining a home, and a great glossary of building terms. Stop by and see us at pbs.org.
Hometime is brought to you by Chevy Trucks. Ready to help with your next home project. For all the things that are important today, your home, their future, your finances, eLoan helps you get the money you need with a variety of loan products, online or over the phone. For the important things in life, there's E-Loan, a better way to get a loan. And by Johns Manville, manufacturers of a complete line of formaldehyde-free fiberglass insulation. Johns Manville, our focus is insulation.